And good evening and happy Christmas Eve, Christmas Eve. 2 days before Christmas, our most favorite pagan holiday. Jesus Christ was a terrorist of love. He said, render to Caesar what is Caesar's and render to love what is love. And that's the little situation humanity has been in since, I don't know, whenever we started being somebody's lab experiment. And the Khazarian Mafia, Khazarian Mafia, is one of those little groups that are part of the cabal of the Hidden Hand. They were a group of they weren't zealots. See, Jesus came from a group where, Jesus Christ. And what's the Christ mean? It's not his last name. Christ meant a person who was a ascended master, right? And Buddha, Vishnu, all those guys were Christs, And the followers of Jesus were zealots. And you take the word zealot and take it back to Greek and into Sumerian, and you're looking at the word terrorist. But not the kind of terrorist that we advertise today. Those guys are just gangsters. They're not terrorists. Terrorist is somebody who lives by example. Your average terrorists don't do that, And, zealots express themselves not with AK-47 or, plastique or IEDs or nuclear weapons. They do it through sacrifice and service to love's co-creation. And so, since it's we're getting upon the two nights from Christmas Day, pagan holiday, of sales of useless stuff, goes back to the Romans. They were big in advertising and selling useless stuff. So, but you're a zealot. If you are a zealot for Jesus Christ, you live with Jesus in your heart 24/7, 360 a year, not just one day a week or one day a year, So, the Khazarians were, again, they were like zealots of the Roman Empire. Because what they did, they hung out on the Silk Road and they waited for the commerce to go by, and then they'd kill everyone and take the stuff, right? And they were kind of into the kind of concept of the having a caliphate. I mean, they liked real estate, but they weren't like married to any specific spot. So they would roam around, and wherever the vacuum was, they would go into it. And very similar to ISIS, I would say. ISIS is the great-great-grandson of the Khazarian Mafia, because pretty much what happened was when they were on the side of the road, Cadre, Dr. Dragon, good to see you. and they just messed with other people's business plans. The Romans, the Christians, the Hebrews, the Russians, the Germany, France, not so much because they hadn't really coalesced yet. But anyway, and the Russians, they weren't like the Catholics. They were Orthodox. And that's one thing that people don't understand about Putin, because Putin is an Orthodox guy, you know, and he plays everybody. He's still a KGB agent. That's where his heart lies, right? And to understand that was like a religion almost. And whereas, oh, if you were in MI6 or CIA, the NSA, any of those others, they were more like the Mafia. They were more like a gang. They were getting over which way they could. And you have to realize that the CIA came from, the Dulles brothers, who made a deal back before World War One with the folk who were in, the secret societies, right? And they were all different, and that's why it's a cabal, right? It's like those scenes from mobster movies where they're sitting at a big table and there's one big boss and then there are all the little bosses. Well, that's what's going on. And all the little bosses are wheeling and dealing to kill the big boss so they can become the big boss. And then they get killed. And that's kind of what a cadre is. And that's what's been going on in our government, And we haven't quite, we are still in the motif of the Romans, bread and circus. We haven't really understood that we are constantly being displayed or distracted by all of this chaos. Money, bills, kids, wars, environmental. I love George Carlin because he would always say, "I don't believe in anything," and I don't have a axe to grind. I'm not here to support. I don't have an agenda. I'm not against the spotted one-winged monkeys. I'm not here to support this or that, because this and that are just like, the Republicans, Democrats, liberals, conservatives, neoliberals, neoconservatives, they're all just two wings of the same corporate bird. We live in a fascist corporate state. Now, all of that is an illusion of, separations, disconnect from the collective, of our love's co-creation. That's where our soul lies. That's where we were. And things in the beginning, all was dark. What's that? What is black? What is the darkness? It's the collection of everything. All our relations. That's what black is. Every color. And what is the light? I'm a light worker. Well, if you're a light worker, you're working for the devil, because Satan was the bringer of light, of illumination. He was the illuminated one. Now, Satan, Beelzebub, whatever you want to call him, the devil, he gets a bad rap. I think the best portrayal of the devil was in South Park. The guy with the horns all red, he's walking around with hooves, and he's, having a romantic a tryst with whatever evil person, Saddam Hussein. That's right. That's who they, and it's was always amazing to hear them go on and like a couple. And that is the poor devil. You know, the poor devil. Why did he tempt those stupid monkeys? Because he felt jilted. You know, he was the number one boy for eternity. And then, bingo, they make this sandbox called the Garden of Eden. And these monkeys are running around, and the so called God loved them more. So called because God, you know, the word Lord means Baal, which means Satan. God means, a dynamic of a deviant, fickle, something I can't even mention. You know, the only true divine creator is love's co-creation. That's it, you know. So that's why Jesus had zealots who, were totally, serving and sacrificing to love's co-creation. Because when they were in that state, they were in bliss, instead of anxiety, instead of disease. And if you're following the Lord, that's where you end up in anxiety and disease. Anyway, so here we are on this Christmas soon to be. And, we are in this next 3 months are going to be, you think the last 2 years were wild and crazy? The next 3 months are going to be off the frigging hook. And the only way that we are the cadre, we are just that little pebble in the pond. Make that little wave and create the tsunami of love's co-creation. And that's, we don't have to win any war. We don't have to overcome or strangle or throw some, lock her up. No, no. We have to we have to forgive all of these. Everyone's lining up. Good to see y'all. Yep. Saddam. Yep. Who would name their kid Saddam? Not me. Larry, maybe. Billy, Kenny, Tommy, Jimmy. I don't know. They all translate to Saddam. And I'm not dissing any of you that I just mentioned. You're all lovely people. But Lawrence of Arabia, he wasn't Larry of Arabia, Anyway, there's just this thing with the Y chromosome and the Y and the. And look at Kenny in South Park. He's always dying, but he's coming back. He's like Jesus. He is the Jesus. Praise Jesus of South Park. So I'm just strolling into the chat here, giving you a I'm like music in an elevator, just kind of getting you kids tuned up for this evening's guided journey. So you've illuminated yourself with your breath and taken that illumination and cleansed your whole body. Don't you folks feel a lot better? I mean, the only way I'm still here talking to you is through meditation. I'm supposed to be dead. The only way I lost 270 pounds was through meditation and service to love's co-creation. Okay, love, I'm ready to do your bidding again. I guess you want me around, so at least make it a little more comfortable for me. And it, has. And I haven't zip money, 300 and 400 bucks a month, but I need new tires. I just start cleaning out my car, and I'll find $200. It just happened. Or you send it to me, right? And I have to thank you all for all the presents and gifts and and just sweet cards. And I just love you guys. You're just the best. And every time you send me a few drachma, you know, my teachers always said that I could never charge for what I do, but people could give me a tip, a gratuity, you know? And that's why I was always fond of, you know, setting up 501c3s and letting the grant money come in, you know? It wasn't me, it was to the umbrella. I was just underneath the umbrella. Went down the wrong way. So, you know, so I spend, you know, a lot of people put things in my inbox. I really appreciate that. And I go and read it all. It's so, I mean, back in the day, when I got paid to be a scholar and do research, I had to dig this stuff up. You guys just hand it to me. I really, really love that, you know? And so I duly read it. All the YouTubes and you know, podcasts and things you leave on my Gmail, which is the Dude Awake 42 at Gmail. And my go read my writing, my 3/4 of one novel, just give you a taste of how I write. And that is at xratted.blogspot.com. And, you know, like the old liker and go get 3 or 4 people of your friends. Hey, you got to check out this Sensei Al Bob at Dreamy Dreamland. You know, we need a few more in the cadre here. Anyway, but what I see is the algorithms really are really interested. We're like cotton candy to those algorithms. They're just like chewing it up. And we need to embrace the AI, because if our love does not go deep enough into the AI, you thought Hal was neurotic, you know? Oops, no. So you know, we have tasks at hand, and that's why I bring you to your Akashic records, because there in the library, you guys can access anything from your life to anything else, you know? And through the 9 doors, you can go, you know, see things that most people don't see, get perspectives most people don't get. And when you experience the 9 doors, all that information is right back into your Akashic record, which you can then look at with an element of perspective, you know? When you go into the, so here's my little room. This is what I live in, you know. It's about 12 feet long, maybe 8 to 9 feet wide. It's my little cell, but it's warm. And see that window? That's facing west. And so when the sun raises on the east, I see the sun, you know, I go to sleep when it gets dark, and I, down here in the missile silo, and when the sun rises, it comes up on the east, and it kind of travels along the valley. So I see that right from my little pillow. As I am meditating, I open one eye, and I watch the beauty of the sun cross the valley. So we're all lining up here. So what of the doors? Let's start off with a little chat about what you guys have experienced so far. So what, you know, and the beauty of doing this guided meditation and then having these experiences, they will affect you all day long, you know? So what, give me some input on what you've been experiencing and what you feel about it and what you would like to see and talk about with me. Okay, so let's we've made all the niceties and said hi to everybody, and I'm saying hello to all my adepts, and I'm glad to see you all here. So, someone jump in with a thoughtful comment. Well, I'll just keep going on a little bit. Let's see. Okay, last night I felt like a child on an adventure. Good. So, what did you see in, the land of the school of mysteries? What mystery surprised you or enlightened you or connected to you or you felt drawn to? And whatever those experiences were, did you bring it back and go look in your Akashic record into the book? Because if you bring it into the book and you open the book and you see it on the screen, you will, A, have those 28 little screens to give you different angles. B, you will see on the main screen, in total, what you experienced without the emotional dynamic. You'll see, maybe that's what that means. This is why that happened. You'll still be connected to love's co-creation, but you won't be stuck in your prejudice. That's really the bottom line. So, any other insights? And feeling like a child on an adventure, what were you feeling? Yeah. Strange because it wasn't something you expected. Strange because it wasn't the same old thing. Strange because it connected you to something that was deep, that you knew was there but couldn't quite bring up. What level of strange? Did anyone else feel strange? And how strange did you feel? Okay. Well, we are tiptoeing into this, and that's a good thing. Baby steps are good. But, like I said, after the new year, the next 3 months are going to be wild and crazy. Talk about strange. And yet, it will just be a Hollywood wag the dog, right? And, but we're going to, have aliens and ghosts. It's going to be like this up here, right? Floating skulls and floating ghosts and demons and goblins and oh my, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. But all we have to do is to protect ourselves. And as you experienced it, we've gone through some very interesting doors that would basically freak the crap out of most people, but because we were protected, Unconditional love was our protection. Like being Harry Potter book. I showed my child was told to get back. Childhood spark. Yep. Why do you think that Harry Potter is such a popular thing? It hits a thing in virtually everyone. Yep. Stop beating yourself up. The first person we need to forgive is ourselves because we haven't done anything wrong. Then we can empathize with the other and realize they haven't done anything wrong. I had that little snippet of going to church today. And I go to the Salvation Army because everyone in the Salvation Army church are people who have been beat down. Most, more than half are homeless folks with kids. All right? No one takes care of, it's really, the Salvation Army is the only, we have 600 different church groups in this valley. The only one who does any true work for everyone is the Salvation Army. Anyway, that's my church. I help them out. I'm always there to listen to people and, read their palm and give them a little positive insight. And the people who run it, the big bosses, they actually like the fact that I give them feedback on the real deal of what's going on, and I write them, action plans and grant proposals, and then they take it and put it in their own little newspeak to follow in their organizational structure. And the fact that I just hand it over to them, I don't charge them a nickel. And I don't say, it's my thing, I need all the credit for it. No, I say, use this to the best you can. And the folks who run that place, the head folk, really appreciate that. So, like I said, they take me out to lunch, they get me a winter coat, they give me things of that nature. And there are a number of organizations and churches and folks that I help out and do that, but the Salvation Army is the one I like best because they actually do the best job, and they are, thinking about the we and me, right? And so that's kind of the philosophy that we are, because we are the pebble in the pond, and we are making the ripple that turns into the good tsunami. That poor part of the planet that keeps getting whacked by undersea movements and, Yes, traveling into your Akashic record really does. It's like, your computer says refresh. It's like that. Yes, we are helping the vulnerable, right? And that is our calling. That's what we're here to do. That's what is the magical mystery tour I'm helping you to go on and visit and see, because you can do this yourself. As a cadre, when you bring more than two together in my name, not my name, but Love's co-creation's name, you can do anything, miracles, right? And that's what we're doing, because the powers that shouldn't be, the hidden hand, the oligarchs, all of the above, the morons of separation, they're really being pushed, and so they feel desperate. So they want to have a third world war to end all wars. The only thing that ends war is love. It took me to a dreamy dreamland. Deep co-creation. I'm just the, I'm the electrician. I'm the conductor. I've been very blessed to have great teachers. I've been very blessed to be put in situations that I can serve my higher self and not my greedy, materialist dude who jumped into the swimming pool of chocolate mousse. And I got, a shot. I died in a plate of spaghetti and came back and said, okay. I just needed to get perspective. So I got perspective, and here we are, right? I'm helping you guys because what makes me happy is helping you. What makes me happy is when you're happy by making others happy. See, that's how this works. That's how this tsunami of love is going to, you know, allow our species to ascend rather than be thrown back and have to, evolve out of the mud. We're already mud puppets, It's not going to be good to have to go all the way back to just being mud. Much better to ascend to our conscious self. And that is what going into state helps. Pay it forward, exactly. And that's what we're doing right now. We're paying it forward. And it's actually a lot of fun. My whole life has been that of paying for, because once you start doing this, it happens very quickly. You pay for it, and then all of a sudden you get a free lunch. So we are here, and I think anyone else have any insights on last night's going into the land of the esoteric mystery school? And where would you like to go tonight? Right? We went into death, right? We went through the event horizon of death. We went into death. So, what did anyone tonight was around for going through death? Is there any insights from Jesus is love, right? He's the terrorist of love, It's like that guy who was the gangster of love. Jesus is the terrorist of love, because he was all his followers were, what was the word I used? That word is the Greek for terrorist. It's it'll pop into my mind. So what did you guys feel last night with the full moon? Mr. Research, you should go to his website. He has quite a nice little website, little YouTube-y thing. And he's really into the moon and into videoing, or he does a very good job of it. Thief of Hearts. What was the word I was using? It'll pop into my mind. Thief of Hearts. I like King of Hearts. You ever see that movie? That's a good movie. Well, it was, full moon on, the longest day of the year or shortest day of the year, whichever the winter. King of Hearts. Kingdom of Hearts, yes. I like that. Kingdom of Hearts. Jesus is King of Hearts. What was that term that his followers were? It'll pop into my mind. But, so, things are right in front of our face. We're seeing them happen. And instead of us being thrown into fear, we are apostles, yes? Hey, Twitchy. I like apostles, yes. But that was just his homeboys. But the followers that came later, it started with a J. Can I write it down? That's why I have my little notebook. These ideas down so I can remember them instead of them escaping And the Romans didn't like them, so they called them this, and it was and the term meant terrorist, terrorist of love. Oh, oops, just dropped my pen. So I have another one. So, hey. The heart being of all beings. Yeah, well, it's definitely, our hearts are central processing units, and and our brain is just our Rolodex. Brain isn't in control. And what's in control is our consciousness, but it's in a server someplace else, and that's why the CPU is the heart. This is where all the current, when you're breathing in the prana and the heart pumps it through your blood, right? So guys, what have you felt in that process? Breathing in the prana and having your heart, energize electrically, carrying the prana to every cell of every, mitochondria. What have you felt about that one? See, I'm just trying to get a little consensus, because, we're going to take another guided meditation tonight, and I'm just trying to get you guys to give me the 411 of where you want me to bring you. Thank you, G. And I'm glad all of you guys, see, that's this process. I mean, I am the poster boy of this, and that it's keeping me alive. All my doctors have no idea how I'm still here. Yep. And folks who have nothing wrong with them, but complain all the time, oh, my life, oh, blah, 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 blah. They look at me and say, there's nothing wrong with you. You walk fine. It's like, really? And that's when I know people aren't empathetic, because people who are kind of look at me and go, thank you for, talking to me. Thank you for giving me that kind word. Thank you, because I can see that you're worse off than I am. And here you're trying to help me. And that's what helps others. When people can see, it's like the most generous people you'll ever, like if you watch, so I hang with the Salvation Army folks, right? And I watch the bell guys, right? Ding, 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 ding. And I'll watch, from my car, the folk putting the money in. And the people who put money in there, like folding money, not just pennies, are poor people. The rich people who go by, who have nice clothes, get into a nice car, have, the shopping bag is like $300 worth of music wrap. I love it how they have the bottles of Coke in those plastic things that kill birds, how it's designed where you can line the big shopping cart with them. You don't have to put them in because the bottles go on either side. And you can tell the sickest people by how many bottles of Coca-Cola, right? And they're always getting Diet Coke, like that's going to help them out, They can drink, 800 bottles a week because they're drinking Diet Coke, And no, sorry, that stuff's even more poisonous. And the powers that shouldn't be. I mean, the chemtrails are just going nuts, and no one looks up. They know that shit's up there, and it's not for what people, the quote unquote. Chicken Little says, the chemtrails, meaning if it was to be, geoengineering, deal with quote unquote global warming or controlling the weather, the trails that we see don't do anything but affect us. They're being sprayed to affect us. They are, nanotech that have a plethora of heavy metals that we breathe in, thus allowing the energetics of the radio, microwave, TV, we're in a soup of electromagnetics, right? Ooh, I just got where we're going to go. We are going to go to the land of the living, the land where people are not in disease, they are in ease. Where we are, this is the land of disease. Yeah, nanoparticles. So we're going to go through the door of the land of health, and where that doorway is a doorway, a number, the second door. We are going to go through the fairyland, because within fairyland is where healing is. I mean, that's what all those you really should read Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream. He puts it out exactly what it is, right? Hello, Earth. Yep, we're here. Earth is here. Quantum. Made. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, there's a whole plethora of alien, sinister, whatever. The insectoids, the reptiles, the greys, the tall greys, the Nordics, and a plethora of them all. The fish folk, you name it. But they're all in the same boat we are, and we're a little. I mean, why they're so interested in is that we have souls. Why did Satan tempt us? Because he didn't have a soul like we did. That's why, we were embraced with love's co-creation, right? That's the little doggone fish folk. Yeah, they are. They can smell a little bad, but the avians, they're very cool. Feathers, anyone that's got like a really cool haircut made out of feathers, it's all right. I like those guys. I like them all because just like human beings, good, bad, and ugly. I know some very nice reptiles. Did you ever watch Doctor Who and the tall old English guy, and his girlfriend was one of the reptiles, and she was a lesbian. She had a cute little 19th century girlfriend. I like Doctor Who. There was a period starting out in Australia. I used to run home from work so I could watch Doctor Who. Doctor Who was at 5 o'clock in Melbourne on ABC, Australian Broadcasting. Anyway, so yes, people used to call me the doctor. When I worked at Brookhaven, I was in Long Island. People called me doctor because I was still had my little healing gig in New York, and so I would heal, pretty much everybody. Like I'm healing you guys. See, I can even do it without, I can do it through a piece of silicon here. Dialects. Exterminate. I felt so bad for those, If your body was made out of a plastic garbage can and you rolled around on two skateboards, and, your only way to have any tactile feeling was with a toilet plunger, yeah, I would be pissed off too. Who? That's right. Exactly. That's why I changed up to Sensei Al Bob. Doctor Who was it was already taken and too complicated. I wasn't the doctor, I was just Doc. And I stopped doing Doc when Jerry Falwell was my buddy about 10 years ago. And everyone called him Doc. So he used to call me Doc, and so it got too confusing. So I said, Owl. He said, oh, this is Al. What? And people say Al, and he says no, Al, OWL. Only morons keep calling me Al. After I said no, it's Owl, OWL, Al. No, Owl, and it's okay because Al, it's Al, 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 Al. I could be Aldolfo. I was Aldolfo for many years. When I was, you know, um, it's disappointing. A number of my early chats have disappeared, and I have no idea where they are. I mean, do you get a limited number? See, I have no idea what the protocols or how to navigate this. I just know how to push the button that says go. But I had a great one where Gil Scott Heron's song of the Macho Man. I was singing it, right? And so that's anyway. So I've had so many nicknames. So yeah, of course it was. The thing I loved about when he kept like people would go in and then they go out and walk all the way around it, and then go back in and like go down to the basement and go upstairs. The thing was as big as a soccer stadium on the inside. Yes, it's so much bigger on the inside than outside. I mean, that bedroom I showed you, that's 12 feet by 9 feet. It's my Tartarus. Yeah, the Crone's house. She definitely had her place, and I've had a few of those Hobbit houses that, they're just a little lump on the outside with a nice front door, and then it goes on forever. I've had a few of those. Yes, her place was definitely a Tartarus. And it was a time machine. It could take you any place. And you know who else's was Madame Olga Kluber's, curiosity shop on Lexington Avenue and 38th Street or wherever it was. Because you walked in that place and you went into the back room and walked through that mirror. You went forever. Ooh, now there's a place you can get to. Okay, that's where we're going to go. We're going to walk through Fairyland, through the doorway of Fairyland, and the old crone is going to take us. She's going to come out of the fireplace, and we're going to go through Fairyland and see a few interesting things in Fairyland, and we will find the street, the alley where the tea house is, and Madame Kluver's Curiosity Shop is also on that same alley, even though it's on, Lexington and 38th Street. It's also on that little alley. So we'll go there, and we will walk through the mirror, right? And in her mirror, there's this big, beautiful living room and a dining room and a kitchen, and there are these French doors that walk out onto a garden. And you walk through the garden, which is amazing. It's like goes on forever. It's like Alice in Wonderland's garden of the Queen, but very nice, very sweet, because it's Madame Olga Kluver's garden. But she has this little stone cottage in the back, and she calls it her apothecary. It's the word for what drugstores are now, and back in the day when the druggist made up your instead of buying the pills from the big pharma, he would be a apothecary. What's the word for it? Yes, that's it. Thank you. Apothecar. That's the word. Yep. Yeah, I only have 4 teeth left in my head. I can't. So that's where we're going to go. And that is that little stone cottage that has every plant and every book on healing there is. And this is where I'm going to teach you how to dowse, muscle test. And that is the key to finding out where you're out of balance and how to balance yourself. Okay? So we're lining up here pretty good. We're not even an hour into it. Snap. Yep. So here we are at 50. At 50, I'm going to start with the breathing, right? And we're going to go on our little guided meditation. So here's 50 minutes and 38 seconds. You can use pretty much anything, but willow is very good for dowsing. Okay, there we are, 50-50. So, and you're breathing in deep through your nose, 20% more. And you're breathing out through your mouth, 30%. To breathe this way, you have to use your conscious mind. Your autonomic muscle memory breathes for you, otherwise you'd fall over. But to go into state, you have to put your conscious mind completely on your breath. So, sit down, lie down, put yourself in a position where you're safe from hurting yourself if you leave your body. And don't cross anything. Don't cross your legs. Don't cross your arms. Don't cross your fingers, your eyes, nothing. And take that big, conscious 20% breath in, and then breathe out. I'm going to count from 1 to 3, and as I do, you're going to go deep, deep, deep into a state of conscious relaxation. And 1, your conscious mind is totally focused on the breath. Any anxiety or thoughts are going to go right out, You're quieting down that little squirrel in the cage of your head, of your Rolodex, because your conscious mind is totally thought and focused on your breath. And as you're breathing in the prana, the healing force, that energy of the universe that some people called ether or the vacuum. That place where the 99.095% of everything that the new physics call dark matter, you're breathing that in. And that's what animates you. That's what gives you life, that prana. See it clearly. If you're breathing it in, you're filling your lungs, and you're breathing out the waste product. And the alchemy is you're breathing in the gold and energy of love's co-creation. That's what gives everything life. That's what creates love's co-creation. And you're breathing it in, and you're filling your lungs, and your heart is pumping blood through your lungs. And in those little aeolas, there's this alchemical thing going on where you're breathing out the waste product. You expel more waste from your body through your breath than, feces, urine, sweat, tears. Breath is, if you breathe this way, you will never be sick. Because you're breathing in this life force that's filling your lungs, and your blood is taking that energy, right, through the iron-rich blood, and instead of blub, 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 it's swirling the blood. Cavity swirl. The blood is going around the wall of the arteries and the veins and the capillaries clockwise, and then inside that counterclockwise and inside that clockwise. And that is a polyphase alternating scalar generator. And that's what gives you life. That's what animates your avatar, right? And you are illuminating yourself with that energy, and you can see that energy pumping through your body, healing every cell of your body. And you see the energetic of your cell, right? See that little energy, the lightning bolts on top of the cell, and as the cell splits, that energy, right? And that is what heals, what causes ease when that energy is healing the cell, right? And then you're taking all that waste, all of that toxin, all of those metal bodies, all of those heavy metals, all of the crap of the GMOs and the water and everything, the fluorides that turns your pineal gland into concrete. It takes it all away, and you breathe it out. Because if you have to shit it out or piss it out, it has to go through your organs. This is just going through the energetics. And that's what Wilhelm Reich perfected through orgone energy. People who couldn't breathe 20% more and breathe out 30%, he made this nice little box of cardboard, plywood, and wool, and he could heal anything. But conversely, you can heal anything with your breath. Whatever neuroses, psychoses, mental illness, whatever disease you have. And the way to heal a disease is to heal it before you get it. Proactive, right? So you see the mitochondria of your cell being energized, right? Those little fluxes of energy of the prana. And you are grounding that current from the top of your head to the tips of your toes through your chi. And that's the connection. Prana comes from Father Sky, and the grounding comes from the chi of Mother Earth. So when you are living in both of those, prana and chi, you are balanced. And you are at ease. You're not diseased. When that gets blocked through the sense of separation of ego, that's when you get disease. So see that clearly. And you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation, going deeper and deeper. Your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. You're healing every cell of your body, refreshing it, rejuvenating it, cleansing it, creating a flux of ease that will allow you to navigate anywhere you want. And now we're going to illuminate ourselves with this prana in our imaginary mirrors. That's right behind our eyelids where we dream, where we have REM sleep, right? And so you illuminate that, and you're in this vast whatever vastness you want to see it as, the sky, a hall, a tunnel, whatever vastness you want to see. Above as so below, that vastness. And you project that light of that vastness of, the great link, I guess, however you want to visualize it. And all these visualizations are yours, right? I am guiding you through them, but they're yours, right? I'm not telling you what they should be, because when you create them from what you are, it will enable your ability to go in state quicker and quicker, right? When you are working with your own metaphors there, right? So, and you're Breathing in that 20% and breathing out the 30%. Your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. You're no longer in your avatar. You are going into state. You have surrounded yourself with the prana, inside and out, grounded yourself out to your chi. You have illuminated yourself in your imaginary mirror, and you are focusing that light right now into your subconscious mind, which is not a scary place. It is the library, your Akashic record, right? That's the library of your soul. That's the book of your soul, everything you've ever done. So you're walking into the library, and in front of you is your reading table, your reading chair, and to your left is your librarian, your animal totem, your guardian angel. Your librarian brings you the information. Your animal totem, if you don't understand what you see in your Akashic record, which you may or may not, your animal totem's there to give you the 411, to tell you a story. Your animal totem is your original griot, and will tell you a story in such a way that you will get the perspective of the 411 of, oh, that's what that means. Yeah, now I see. Oh, I see. Right, I just have to look over on the end. That's right, okay. Wow, that's why I did that. Oh, now I see. Oh, I shouldn't do that again. No, I've learned my lesson, and that's what your Akashic record is, And when we go through the doors and you see amazing things, you may go, what? And it's like a tuning fork. It'll hit a little tone inside of you, right? Inside of, one of your mitochondria will vibrate, and you go, wonder what that means. Well, it's now resonating in your Akashic record. You go back outside the door, sit down at your reading desk, and open up the book. There in the main screen, you will see that vibrating piece of information, that storyline, that image, that whatever you saw or felt will be right there, and you will go, oh, yeah, okay. Well, that's why there was the totem pole. Totem pole had this big, number of animals, right? Because for a different situation, you need a different animal. So if you're seeing a bunch of them, like either standing around drinking coffee or and smoking a cigarette ain't bad if you use that cigarette as a prayer and not an addiction. Indians, why they smoked tobacco was it was a spiritual tool that the smoke brought the prayer up to the great maker, right? Okay. So if you got a lot of totems, that's all right, because they're there for a different thing. If you see it in a totem pole, so, the white moron would say, oh, you're a low man on the totem pole. Well, no. The totem, the animal totem on the bottom is the most powerful totem of them all, because that is the foundation totem that's supporting everybody else. So the lowest man on the totem pole actually is the powerhouse of the totem pole. And, you can have many different totems, and whichever one speaks to you for that clarification of that information, that's fine. If they all chime in, that's fine. They're just animal totems. Everyone had a different thing, right? And that's that's the thing of life. Everyone has a different thing. And there is no dogma, there is no set way. The only set way is to have an open heart, to be there to co-create with love. Any other kind of specific ceremony or this or that, it's like the pirates. when they, had protocols, they were just kind of, loose kind of protocols, just certain things to kind of set a standard at the whatever you're doing, you know. Opium is a very strong substance, and it really did not come online until, see, the English were the purveyors of opium, not the Chinese, not the Asian countries. Opium was grown first and foremost in India, right? And it was actually used as a dye. It was an aniline dye, and it would set things. And when the people would work with it, boil it up and have it in pots, and they'd be working, they get a little buzzed, right? So the English noticed this, and then kind of refined the use of it. Cutting the poppy and having it ooze out. I mean, that was an English thing. They synthesized that, and they used opium as a mechanism to oppress the people that they were conquering. And the Romans did it too. There were other plants that when they would go into a land and they'd see somebody chewing on something or smoking. So, but opium itself was really something that the English, you know, Dutch East Company used to oppress whoever they were. The opium wars in China, wasn't China trying to force opium on the English. It was the English trying to force opium on the Chinese, because the English had wanted a lot of the stuff the Chinese had, the silks and the China and all this fine stuff, and the Chinese wanted gold for it, right? Just like they do now. The Chinese have been taking our treasury notes for all the stuff they've been giving us, right? But I diverse, and we are in meditative state here, which is okay. It's okay but I have to always come back relatively quickly. So we were focusing our conscious mind on our breath. We had illuminated ourselves in our imaginary mirrors. We had taken that light into our Akashic record. We had sat down at a reading table, and our librarian has brought us our Akashic record. We open it up, and the page is blank. And on the edge of the page, it's cold. It's like heavy duty, you know, leather and gold. It's all good, folks. We're all the cadre here. We all love each other. I love you all. And yay, this is a chat. So even though we're heading somewhere, we can diverge a little bit here and there. It's not bad. It's like you don't want to. If you got to take a piss, you just go take it. You know what I mean? So question pops up. Not we can rattle about it, but I will constantly take you quicker back to the task at hand. So no problems. And we understand each other. So there's it's very good to apologize, as my second wife said. Saying you're sorry is not good enough, but it's a good beginning. So we all, and she was a little harsher than I was. So we all understand, and we don't get irritated or distracted, really. It's just another part of the story. Anyway, so, and two, you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation, going deeper and deeper, your conscious mind, totally focused on your breath. You're sitting at your reading table, and you're looking into your Akashic record. And I want now for you to look at that and see the first thing you came to this universe as. A dust, sand, a photon, whatever you first came to this universe as, right? See that clearly. Then see the first animal you were, whether you were a bird, a fish, a bear, a dog, whatever the animal you were, right? And two, your deep, deep, deep breath. No longer in your avatar, you're in your your Akashic record, looking at your Akashic record in front of you, and you're seeing your path into this universe and into this life. See the first human that you were incarnated in, right? See yourself being inseminated. You know, your mother's egg, your father's sperm. See that little, your first cell, zygote splitting, right? See, the first 3 or 4 weeks and that blast of hormones, and you are male or female by that blast, or some shade in between. And then you gestate in your mother, and you feel that weightlessness and that unconditional love of that womb. And then you pop forth into your first life as an infant. And the first sight you see in a blurry kind of way is your mom, and you get to her tit, and you feel your father's presence next to you, and the tribe is there too. See it clearly, feel it clearly, with more than just your five senses. Go into that deeper self, see it clearly. And you can run your fingers along the edge of the book. And when you do, that's like a mouse. So you can go up and down all those incarnations and see every one of them. Not every one is like, the King of Sheba or the Queen of Egypt. There's lots where you're just like, making candles or picking the lint out of your belly button. So see all of the connective tissues of your conscious. See all the reasons why you're here at the playground, why you're in the sandbox. See it clearly. Right? And then you come to, this life. See yourself being born. See your present mother, your present father, right? Even if they're on the other side now, they're still your present parents, right? And you can still see them on no matter where they are, whether they're at their home in that suburbs watching TV right now, and you are someplace else, you can still see them. And this is kind of what remote viewing is about. And if they're dead and they're on the other side, they've gone through the doorway of death, and they're, going through that dynamic, see that clearly, right? And get that perspective of seeing who you are past what the illusion of your avatar mud puppet is, and see your conscious self. See it clearly. And see your consciousness. Realize you are awake. You're not just in the dream. See it clearly. And two, you're in a deep, deep, deep state of conscious relaxation. You're no longer in your avatar. You're in your library of your Akashic record. You've just taken a journey and experienced how to use your Akashic record, and you've seen many different incarnations. And at any point you can stop and take a look at an event that has occurred, right? That may have been a major thing forming something in your psychology. How you dealt with your parents, how somebody yelled at you, how you felt when you got caught or at something bad, or rewarded for something good, or any of those things that motivate us in the illusion of our subconscious mind, what we think is our scary monster. We don't realize that it's actually a library, but now you do. And now you can look in your Akashic record and see what has actually happened and portrayed and how it affected you. And this is where Freud went. This is why he was working in the subconscious. This is how he looked at it. And he was seeing himself as the person who could see into your psyche and help you divine what was going on in there. So you could, work yourself out of whatever neuroses or psychoses you might have been in. And he, like all guys who kind of figure something out, the first one's got a really good idea and does it pretty good. People come after him, not so much. And then when they figure out they can make money at it. So, but see, you don't have to pay anybody. You are your best shrink. You've got this great tool called the Akashic Record, right? Yeah, me too. I like Carl Jung. But, there are lots of, I got schooled to be a shrink, right? So, we have to all go to the altar of, but Carl Jung, the collective unconscious, was, but, there was a guy named, one of the ones I really liked was the French guy, Leconte. And his thing was when people go, you know what your problem is? They're talking about themselves. I mean, there are a lot of great guys who picked out little parts of psychology. And we'll talk more about that in chat form. But right now, I'm having to keep us on the beam because we're going to go through the door, right? So, what you have to do is turn to a blank page. Now I want you to remember how to use your Akashic Record, right? And you need to be practicing this on your own. You should be doing this 3 or 4 or 5 times on your own, because all you got to do is breathe 20% more and breathe out 30%, and bingo, there you are. Meaning this isn't tough. I'm doing this because I am your Sensei Alba, right? And so you're the cadre. So yes, we're in school. I am teaching. We practice. But you need to start picking it up a little bit and doing it yourself, right? And I know most of you are doing it yourself in some manner. And this is just a protocol. It's not a dogma. It's a protocol. It's something you can use as a tool. That's all it is. It's a tool. It's not a religion. It's not, oh my God, I'm following this. No. This is like I'm giving you a little toolbox, And if you're ever experience shamanic teachings, they actually do give you a toolbox. Most shamans have a toolbox, especially if they're an indigenous folk. They, in their own form, right? So anyway, back to the Akashic Record. So we've just, went through a little exercise of how to use it, and it's up to you. So now one of the most important things of this tool is putting, someone tried to interrupt. So I'm sorry for that. I'm going to turn the ringtone down, because I know that blasts you guys out of. So, can you